We've had some workmen around today. We're getting some new windows and doors, and I get a bit self-conscious when there's workmen around. It feels a bit odd because, there's these people, very confident men, proper men, confident men coming into the house with their boots on, and there was a couple of them. They were talking really loudly and confidently to each other, and it's just really strange. These people have come into my house, and they seem more at home in it than I do. They're waltzing up the stairs. I mean, not literally waltzing up the stairs, that'd be, oh yeah, they were very camp workmen. A very camp workman indeed. We don't mind if we put a little bit of music on, a little bit of ballet. Let's have a waltz up the stairs. They're more sort of trounced up the stairs, I think. They were quite heavy-footed, no taking their shoes off or anything, just straight up the stairs. I didn't even have to tell them where they were going. They sort of just seemed to know where to go. Right, so we've got two rooms up here to do. Just chatting away. And then there's me, just awkwardly sitting, trying to catch up on the audio versions of the dollops. But then I became conscious of the fact that they might be hearing me reading it out, and that sort of made me feel a little bit self-conscious. I'm reading out a blog about William Wordsworth while they're chatting about football upstairs. I sort of felt not really like a man, particularly, for whatever that means. So there they are, they're trouncing around their boots, and they're happily whistling and singing, and they've immediately gone up the stairs. And then the next thing I hear is music. They've put on like a radio or something, and they're listening to some kind of digital rock station or something like that. I have no idea. They might have been using their own batteries, or they might have just plugged in into the wall socket for all I know. I've absolutely no idea. Just, set myself up there. And it was just playing non-stop 70s rock, which is a shame, really. It'd be nice for them to book the trend if they're listening to Radio 3 or Classic FM there. Sort of go against the stereotypes a little bit. Kind of like, oh, bloody brilliant. It's Prokofiev, mate. Second Symphony. Absolutely brilliant. In the same key as me drill. Absolutely brilliant. And they were singing along and hammering away and drilling away, and the music's blurring there. I'm thinking, my goodness. And they must do this all the time. They must just turn up at people's houses, and they're so used to it that it doesn't feel alien to them. It's just a house. They'll just turn up with their radio, sing away. At one point I asked one of them if he'd like a cup of tea. No, I'm alright, thanks, mate. And then I thought, right, mate. Yeah, of course, I don't usually use the word mate, but I felt, I'm communicating here with some proper men. They're trouncing up my stairs, they're making lots of noise, they're farting, no pretense, no concern, no self-consciousness. And there's me, trying to communicate with them, I should really be authoritative in some way. I should be like, right, lads, this is what needs doing. Let me, a bit more assertive. But I wasn't. They just came to the door. We're here to do your doors and windows, mate. Yeah, yes, okay. Right, we're up the stairs, Tommy. Come on, this way. And I'm there, my goodness. No formalities, no introductions, nothing. Straight up the stairs. So I asked him if he wants a cup of tea. But he was saying mate all the time. He was saying mate to his mate. Right, mate. Right, up here, mate. We're going this way, mate. Right, start drilling there, mate. So I thought, right, okay, I've got a chance to claw it back here. I don't want them to think I'm some namby-pamby talking about William Wordsworth, sitting there all self-conscious. They can tell it, they can tell. But I'm going to redeem myself from here. I'm going to show them what a proper man I am. So I thought, right, I'm going to start using their language. I'm going to start using mate. I don't normally say mate, but I'm going to say mate. So I did, but I lost my bottle. I got a bit self-conscious again. I was like, and would do you think your mate might like a cup of tea? Oh, a cup of tea, that's the first thing. You don't say cup of tea, just say a brew. A brew, that's what I should have said, shouldn't I? Or a cuppa, eh? But I paused on the word mate as well. Why did I pause? It made it sound like I was suggesting that there's something more going on. And would your mate like a cup of tea? So I felt all embarrassed. I could feel myself going red. Oh, I don't know, mate. You can go and ask him. He's laughing. I thought, was that no, just a normal no? Was there a slight laugh there in the voice, like he knows what I'm doing? He's like, oh, of course he knows. Is there still time to redeem myself? So I holler up the stairs. at him. Trying a cup of tea, mate? Yes, that was it. That was a proper one. Now he's going, my God. I thought this man was crippled by social anxiety. I thought he wasn't a real man. I thought he was a namby-pamby. I thought he was one of them. But now, listen to that voice of authority straight away. I thought, my goodness, I've got the respect of this one now. I've redeemed the situation. Everything's back on track. Well, unfortunately, that's not what anyone was thinking at all. Because the man who had been upstairs all the time had just literally come down the stairs, and I hadn't realised this. I think I'm going to shout him from up the stairs. That's going to be a voice of authority. That'll show them. So I put my head around the door and just shout. At which point I hear a yell. Granted, it was a manly yell. And the shock of that yell makes me yell. Not so manly. Whoa! I basically just shouted in this man's ear. Thinking he was still up the stairs, I've just now shouted at the top of my voice, "Try to cup of tea, mate!" Right in his face. Now goodness knows what he thinks of me. I think I preferred it when he thought I was crippled by social anxiety. Now he's thinking I'm just weird. So obviously I had to explain the whole blindness thing. I thought about trying to gain some extra man points by pretending that maybe I said, I got blinded in a welding accident, mate. You know how it is. You know, you're doing a bit of welding, next to the thing, a bit of wood flies into my eye. You know, the thing is, it was probably quite painful, but, yeah, I'm one of these people who just sort of ride through the pain, really, and that was in some ways my downfall. Whereas most people, the doctor told me, while he tried to produce the piece of wood out of my eye with a pair of tweezers, it was in really deeply, and normally they would use anaesthetic and put you to sleep, but anaesthetic, or as I call it, pathetic. Because anyone who takes it to numb the pain and make them go to sleep is, quite frankly, pathetic. I mean, I might be a proper man, but I can still appreciate a good bit of wordplay. But I wasn't having any of that. I was having a bit of a chat with the doctor while he was taking the wood out of my eye. And he said to me, most people the pain would have been so much that they would have gone straight to the hospital, but not me. I thought, I could jazz this up a little bit. Maybe I could still redeem the situation, but I decided not to. I decided just to accept that I'm not one of these men. I'm not but I shouldn't let it get to me. I don't know why I feel so self-conscious in these situations. I don't know what it is within me that feels like this. Whenever there's workmen or builders around. But I've got absolutely no authority. And they must see this all the time. They must see men like me being cowed by the situation. It's not as if I'm not a man of the world. I've done stuff. You know what I mean? Why would I need validation? What am I seeking to be validated? I've got a job. I've got somewhere to live. I've got friends. I slept with a woman once. You know what I mean? What do I have to prove? I'm a man. Oh, and as I say goodbye to you, hello, Elsa. I say hello to Elsa. I shall be back tomorrow with dollop 325. Right, okay. I bit my lip, but I'm not sure if it counts. I'm not sure if it counts because I sneezed and then bit my lip. And it was the force of the sneeze that made my head go forward and then I bit my lip. So I'm not sure that counts as an accidental lip bite. Obviously I didn't do it on purpose, but there was a reason for that. There was some causality that I can attribute it to. Whereas what I'm talking about is just when I'm eating and then bang, I've bit my lip. So I'm not sure if that counts. I'm adding it to the database. Oh, sorry, I just have to... Yes, I have to type in the password. I forgot. I've obviously secured this database quite well because I want to make sure that nobody hacks into it and starts messing with the results, because it is there'll be some people jealous of my success here and don't want the truth to get out. So there we are, add it to the database. There we are. Fear not, people, the result is in. So let's think. So obviously I bit my lip in dollop 260. You'll remember this, dollop nerds. I don't want to take up more of your time than is necessary, but I'm just recapping this for the people who aren't dollop nerds and maybe can't remember, because there's some people who listen to the dollops, they're not going to remember all these points. I know they're important points, but some people they don't give the dollops their full attention. They don't immerse themselves in the dollops as much as you do. And I appreciate that, but I've just got to recap for those people. I know it's frustrating. It's like with Harry Potter, isn't it? Where, J.K. Rowling, every single book was like, oh, Harry's a wizard. And we're like, we know Harry's a wizard. Get on with the story. He's got magic powers. We know he's got magic powers. He has a scar on his head. We know that. Get on with it. If people haven't had the foresight to read the previous books, that's not my fault. Don't punish me. I know. Now I'm doing the same as J.K. Rowling there. And there are rumours going around that I will be releasing a play version of David's Daily Digital Dollop. Yes, I will be doing that. I'm planning on doing that next year, and I'll let you know as soon as the phone lines are open for that. David's Daily Digital Dollop. It's called The Cursed Eagle. It's about David Eagle decides to do a challenge where he releases a dollop once every day for 366 consecutive days, and he's essentially cursed himself, so that's why it's called The Cursed Eagle. Hilarious stuff going on right now, but we digress. Comedy is one thing, but we're on a serious subject here of the lip biting, aren't we? So sorry about that. Let's get back to the subject at hand. So I first bit my lip, obviously, in dollop 260. I then bit my lip in dollop 301. And in dollop 260, I intimated that I thought I bit my lip once every 6 weeks, once every 40 days or so. So it just so happened that I was proven right when in dollop 301 I bit my lip. So that was 41 days after dollop 260. So now we're on dollop 326 and I bit my lip due to a sneeze, but I'm not sure if that counts as an accidental lip bite or not. But I've written in the database, we'll see what happens, but it does technically mean that I should bite my lip again in the next 5 or 6 days. But, of course, does it now mean that because I bit my lip already, has that changed something maybe within my brain and I now won't bite my lip again? Has that sort of reset it, maybe? I don't know how the system works, and we're very much in early days here, but, of course, I will keep you abreast well, we're not worried about breasts at the moment, but any breast biting incidents, accidental breast biting incidents, I mean, that's another thing altogether, and I don't think I've got the resources to be able to do breast biting, accidental breast biting, and accidental mouth biting. I'm going to stick with the mouth biting. If someone else wants to do an ancillary project, a side project there, then feel free. Anyway, so basically we're keeping the research going, that's the whole point of that. So I just wanted to spend today updating you on that. In the next half hour we should have the windows and doors men back. They're coming back for a second day. And we've also got a plumber coming around because our boiler's packed up. So a plumber's coming round, they should be all there at the same time. I'm just wondering what's going to happen, you know. The workmen a couple of days ago, obviously they had the radio on the go and they were whistling and singing along. Is the plumber going to arrive with the radio as well and set it up? I mean, God, I'm a bit worried that there's going to be some sort of domestic incident where they kind of fight over who has the right to have the radio, some disagreement over what radio station to use, and there's me, just sort of stood there awkwardly thinking, well, actually, I'd prefer if none of you listen to the radio because I'm trying to record a dollop. But too fearful to say that, despite the fact that it's my own house. I just hope nothing else is going to break. Let's just hope the electrics don't go or something like that, because I can't cope with another person. My house is going to be overrun by manly men who are solving problems. And before you think, you've been a bit sexist there, David, saying it would be a man plumber. I know it's a man plumber because I've spoken to him. He's called Keith. I also think that if the plumber had come at a separate time, then obviously I'd have a bit of a chance to kind of improve my whole talk with these people. You know, I could have said, like, mate, I could have established some authority. You know, I could say, right, okay, take your boots off at the door, let's get to work. Let me just show you the ropes, let me show you where everything is. Here's the boiler. You know, he probably knows where the boiler is, it doesn't matter. I'd be the one who said, right, come with me, let me show you things. The water tank's up here, mate. You know, yeah, I'd be calling him mate, I'd have all that sorted. I might even venture into pal, do the occasional pal. But that would be ideally what I would do. I would have learnt from what happened a couple of days ago. Then the plumber came round, I'd be able to assert my authority, I'd call him mate, maybe learn a few facts about the football. I'd just get some salient points about the football, who's top of the league, bit of stuff about Sheffield Wednesday maybe and Sheffield United. Obviously I'd need to know about both of those things because he might say he's a Sheffield United supporter, so I'm going, oh, the bloody Wednesday. Bloody Wednesday. Hey, don't get me started on the Wednesday, mates. But ironically, even though they've got the name Wednesday in their name, they play more like a Sunday League football club, don't they? I call them Sheffield Sunday. Yeah, that kind of thing. Obviously, I would only want to do that if they were United supporters. I wouldn't want to do that if they were Wednesday supporters. So it's things like that I could have had down pat. But unfortunately, because they're all going to be there at the same time, the two workmen and the plumber, I can't really stamp my authority on the situation. I can't really address the plumber as, how are you doing, mate? Come this way, mate. You see the game last night? Let me show you where the tank is, mate. Right, here's the tank in this cupboard here. Oh, sorry about that. As you can see, I've got all my porn mags all over the place. I should have really put those away. Bit embarrassing, eh? But we're only men, aren't we, eh? Now, how about a jar, eh? How about a jar? A brew. Hey, a cuppa. How about a cuppa, mate? You want a cuppa, pal? Let's get a cuppa inside here. That's what I could do. That's how men talk. I've sort of got it now. I've got it. But unfortunately, because the other workmen from a couple of days ago are going to be there and they saw my terrible performance a couple of days ago, I'm not going to be able to do that because they're going to go, yeah, he's faking it, mate. They're going to see right through it. They'll laugh at me and they'll undermine my credibility. So I'm a little bit self-conscious about it. I'll try my best not to be as self-conscious. Maybe I can redeem the situation. I'll let you know how it goes anyway. What I thought I would talk about today is, if you remember, Dollop Nerds, in Dollop 306, which was, of course, entitled Dollop Nerds. Yeah, well done, Song Charades, which is where you act out a song and people have to guess what the song is. So you act out a song title and people have to guess which song it is that you're acting out. And I did one, and Sean got it instantly. Let us revisit that moment right now. Clink, clink, clink. The sound of bottles every morning as I deliver to your door. Hello, sir.
Hello.
I am here once again, the person who delivers with the bottles outside your door. Let me not just provide you with the essential dairy product that you have been seeking. I have also...
Milkman of human kindness.
Yes, because I was going to do some kind deeds. I was going to... Milkman of human kindness. I was going to offer to... would you like me to do any ironing? That kind of thing. So, well done with me. I didn't even have to do the kindness bit. You got it. Okay, so that was really quick. I didn't really have to get onto the bit about doing kind things. But straight away, Sean got the Milkman of Human Kindness, Billy Bragg. So we've been doing this thing at the singing weekends, and I've been acting out songs, and people have to guess which song it is. Last week, it took them absolutely ages to get it. Bearing in mind that Sean got it within the first few seconds, this took absolutely ages. There was 45 people in this room. It took them bloody ages. Clink, 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 clink.
Here I am again with your morning delivery. But rather than just delivering your standard groceries and dairy products, is there anything else that I can oblige you with? Maybe I could take the dog out for a walk, do some ironing. For more, I am more. Has anyone buzzed yet? For I am more than a simple man who delivers dairy products. I am...
3.
Yeah?
The fastest milkman in the West.
No.
What's it?
Instead of delivering your dairy products and just doing that, I would like to perform a variety of ancillary tasks. For instance, now I'll give you a clue, I don't want to show off, but I am a very altruistic person. I wouldn't want to show off about this. Some people may... I come round every morning. I come round clinking my bottles, which you will drink from, but I would like to oblige you by performing some altruistic tasks for you, for I am more than a deliverer of dairy products. The what? The kind milkman! The kind milkman! Who's buzzing? What's that one?
Milkman of human kindness.
Yes! Yes! Well done, the kind milkman.
Strange how different people's minds work. Then again, me and Sean do spend so much time with each other, we probably can read each other's minds. So, but anyway, that reminds me of a little story. It was quite a few years ago now. I was in Scarborough with my now housemate Ben. But I was visiting Ben, and I was staying over at his house, and we needed to get some milk. So we went to the shop, got some milk, and then we walked to the counter, and I hear the lady say, "Okay, so that's 2 pints of milk." So I said to Ben, "Oh, I'll get this." So I handed the woman the change, and I could hear him trying to protest. There's only a couple of pints of milk. There's no point protesting about it. No, I said, "No, it's fine, it's on me." It's your lucky day, the woman says to Ben. He said, "All right, well, there you go, and here's your change." And I didn't really want the change. I was trying to get rid of change. So I said to Ben, "Oh, it's all right, you have the change." And he began to protest again. I was like, no, seriously, mate, get the change. And then 2 things happened simultaneously. First thing was I suddenly became aware that this didn't really sound like Ben's voice. And the second thing was I suddenly heard Ben come up behind me and was like, "Right then, let's pay for this." And put the milk and something else on the counter. He hadn't just walked straight to the counter. What he'd done is he got the milk and then he went to get something else. What I saw was Ben grabbed the milk, just as this other man grabbed the milk, and then I saw someone walk to the counter about Ben's shape and size, followed this person who I thought was Ben to the counter, and then I heard the woman say, "So, just the milk then?" And then said the price of the milk. Obviously thinking it was Ben, I just put the money into the woman's hand. I was like, "Oh, I'll pay for this." And when the man protested, I sort of didn't really cotton on. He didn't really say that much. He's like, "Oh, no," something like that. And I was like, "Oh, don't be silly, I'll get this." So then I gave the woman some money. She tried to give me the change. She said, "No, you keep the change, my friend." And I sort of point at Ben, who isn't Ben. So goodness knows what this man's thinking at this point. But I was so shocked by the fact that Ben was now behind me and I'd paid for the wrong person. I didn't really manage to explain what was going on. I just started laughing. If you've heard other stories of similar confusion, you'll know that tends to be what happens. And then I can't explain myself because I'm now laughing. At which point, the man's phone in front of me rings, so he answers the phone and he toddles off. I can't remember if he picked up the change or not. I think he might have just left it on the counter, and then the woman gave it to Ben, thinking, right, this man's obviously mad. Laughing hysterically, he's paying for people's things on a whim, telling them to keep the change. But anyway, the man's phone rang and he answered it. As he walked out of the shop, I could hear him saying, "Mate, the strangest thing's just happened." And he obviously was starting to tell the story about this odd guy who just paid for someone's milk and then told them to keep the change, and then laughed hysterically in their face when they tried to protest. So I was the milkman of human kindness that day. We had a comment from Phil, who's got a suggestion for David's Daily Digital Dollop, the musical. He suggested, anyway, that we do the chicken dollop, the vegan chicken, the fake chicken. If you didn't hear the dollop from a few dollops ago, you won't know what I was referring to here. But basically, I was talking about the fact that there are things out there on the vegetarian market now that seems to try to emulate the meat experience as much as possible. So it tries to emulate the taste and the texture of meat, but also you can actually now get fake chickens that have bones inside them. Not real bones, obviously, but wooden bones. That just seems ridiculous to me, so I was just saying, well, why don't we go the whole corn hog and have a chicken that you can actually chase around the room and wring its neck and have all the blood and the guts. Obviously, it would be fake blood and fake guts, but you can have the experience of slaughtering a chicken without actually slaughtering a chicken. And I talked about that in quite graphic detail, and Phil has suggested that we make make that into David's Jelly Digital Doll at the musical. I think he was thinking more from a theatrical standpoint there about how it would look visually in the theatre. And I think maybe there is something to be said, Phil, for if David's Jelly Digital Doll at the musical went to theatre, then I think that would be a good scene. And maybe we could do it in 2 parts. Maybe the first half could be the domestic appliances, the killer domestic appliances idea. So the kettles chasing after me, pouring boiling water over me, the fax machine or the printer, printing out death threats on pieces of paper that then hems me into the room, and I have to try and escape. You know, the doors are all controlled now by computers, so the doors can lock to stop me escaping. The vacuum cleaner tries to suck me up. The iron comes at me, scalding me with steam and trying to iron me to the ground. All these ideas. That would be the first half, maybe. I mean, that would be a gripping drama. And then the second half could all be about this crazy scientist and inventor who becomes a vegetarian but wants to experience what it's like to kill animals without killing animals. And he becomes more and more obsessed with this idea and brings out a lot of toys for vegans that give vegetarians and vegans the opportunity to kill without killing. But then maybe he gets dragged into this world so much, then he thinks, oh, but whatever I create isn't going to replace the real thing. And he loves it. He tries to make more and more of a real life experience, but by doing it, he goes to the slaughterhouses and he sees what it's like to have animals killed, because he needs to, in order to make the experience as close to real life as possible. Then he decides that the only way he can actually understand what it's like is to actually slaughter an animal. And so it goes further and further on. Obviously, that's going to be quite contentious. He gets caught up in this world of where he's become a staunch vegan and vegetarian, and now he's just obsessed with killing animals. I mean, he'll just kill anything. By the end of the whole thing, by the end of the musical, he's killing anything. He's like killing his neighbour's dog. He's killing the cats down the street and that kind of thing. He's just killing animals. And then he starts killing humans, maybe. He starts killing people. So I quite like the idea of that. And maybe one of the things he does as well is make toys for cannibals so they can pretend that they're chasing down people. And it all gets very sinister. I like that. It's kind of like, there's almost like the two of those things are like quite Black Mirror, aren't they? Like Charlie Brooker's Black Mirror. You can imagine them being in something like that. I think those would be good ideas, actually, for David's Jelly Digital Doll the musical. I am doing the dishes as I speak, as I'm about to head off to the singing weekend, and I don't have very long before I need to set off, and I'm not sure what the Wi-Fi is going to be like, so I've got to try and upload this before I go. I went to the hairdressers today, to the barbers. Oh, bloody hell. And I didn't know where the barbers was. I was just following my instructions on my phone, the instructions from the sat-nav. But obviously it only gets you so close, and I probably got about 20 to 50 yards away. But then I needed to know where to go from there, so I was hoping that I could ask someone. Anyway, about a few hundred yards away, and then this woman runs up to me and shrieks, "Stop, stop, you're going to walk into a car, you're going to walk into a car!" Which I wasn't going to walk into a car, because I knew the car was there and I was ready to move around it. I mean, I wasn't even anywhere near the car. I'd seen the car, I was just about to move. And I get confused because I don't know what people think in these situations. Like, I suppose they don't know how far I've walked, but like, surely they must realise that I have walked in the past and that I don't look battered and bruised. Surely, because she also can see that I've just walked across a pretty busy road without any problems whatsoever. So she knows I've come from that way, because I've just stepped off the busy road. So she knows that I've made that, presumably without any help whatsoever. I suppose there isn't really anything going through her mind. I suppose she's just working on it like as a visceral thing. She sees me, she goes, "Oh my God, blind man, car! Ah, you're going to walk into the car!" But I can understand if I was right, it was a perilous situation. But what we're talking about here is we're talking about a car that's parked. We're not talking about anything dangerous here. All that would have happened is I wasn't even walking massively fast. It was not like I was going to go headlong into the car. It was not like I was running at the top speed. The only thing that would happen, if anything, is my foot would hit the tyre first, and that would be it. I'd go, "Oh, there's a car there." So this woman didn't apply any logic. I was about 20 yards away from the car, and she's like, "Shah, you're going to walk into the car." Anyway, bearing in mind she's done that and taken me round this car. And she said, "Oh, so where are you going?" And I thought, brilliant, I'm going to get some help now, because I'm probably about just 100 yards or so away from the barbers. I knew it was around here, and I thought, brilliant, well, she's obviously a very conscientious woman. She's overly conscientious, unfortunately, but you know, the good news is she's going to be able to tell me where the barbers is, and I'll find the way, because the sat-nav's only going to get me so close that I need to find out where the door is. So I said, "Oh, well, I'm looking for the barbers, actually. I think it's somewhere along here." But bearing in mind she's been overly cautious at this point, she stopped me from walking into a car that I wasn't going to walk into. She then goes, "Oh, it's just down there on the right, love, you can't miss it." And she just walks away. And I've talked about this before. What gets me isn't the fact that people help. It's the fact that it frustrates me often when people think it's good to help. And I know that people can't be mind readers and automatically know, but it just, surely there's an element of logic here. Like, I wasn't going to walk into the car. I wasn't nowhere near the car, and I wasn't going to walk into the car. But for some reason, she thought that I needed her help in that moment. Desperately needed her help. But when I actually more or less asked for help, saying, oh yeah, I'm looking for the barbers, do you know where it is? Rather than going, oh yeah, I'll just walk you down, it'll take me, 30 seconds out of my way or something. It didn't cross her mind that I would need her help in that regard. She just went, oh yeah, you can't miss it, love. Like, I can't miss it, but how can I not miss the barbers, but I can miss the massive car that's in front of me? So then I had to try and find someone else to find the barbers. It reminds me of another time that I was looking for a barber's. This is when I was in Manchester, and I knew there was a few hairdressers and barbers along this stretch of road. And so I asked this man where the barber's was, and I said, oh, I think there's a barber's just over here, isn't there? And he said, oh yeah, mate, you don't want to go to that one. And I was like, oh, all right, okay. And he sort of lowered his voice and went, it's an Asian barber's. And I don't know what he meant by that. It was like a racist thing? Like, oh, you don't want your hair cut by an Asian, do you? Hey? Or was he saying that they specialise in different styles and they won't be able to cut my British white hair? They won't know what's hit it. I'll walk in there and they'll be like, what the hell's this? We can't deal with this kind of hair. I don't know if that's what he was meaning, but it was just the way he sort of said it. And then he said it as if I should understand what he was talking about. As if I was going to go, oh yeah, thanks for that, mate. That could have been a bit awkward, couldn't it, eh? Going to an Asian barber's. I don't even know what an Asian barber's is. I'd have thought an Asian barber's would be perfect, actually. Bearing in mind I was going in there for an Urdu. If there are any Asian barbers listening, feel free to use that one there. I'm not sure if it would work as well written down. It would sort of spoil it written down, wouldn't it? It would have to be spoken. I'm sure the Asian barbers listening will appreciate that because, I don't know if you're aware of this, but people in India love wordplay. That's why they call it the Punjab. Punjab. Anyway, so I got into the hairdressers, it's barbers in Sheffield. We were having a bit of a chat and I said something to the woman that made her laugh. Which is a big mistake. You don't want to make a hairdresser laugh too much, because she started to laugh, but she still had the scissors in her hand, on my hair, and she was sort of yanking my hair backwards and forwards as she laughed. And sometimes, obviously, I'm quite a hilarious man. And I was worried. I thought, my goodness, if this had been anybody else, then she probably wouldn't be laughing that much. But this is me we're talking about here. She can't control herself, and she's got scissors in her hand. And she seems to have forgot that she's got scissors in her hand, and now and that they're attached to my head, and now she's just laughing, and she's rocking backwards and forwards, and my head's going backwards and forwards, and I might be killed here by my own joke. My own joke might kill me. It's song time, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a song to share with you. It's called Do the Maths. It's the song of a maths geek who is going through relationship problems. So, in a desperate attempt to try and salvage his relationship and to understand his girlfriend, he treats his situation like a mathematical equation and sets to work trying to solve it. In this song, my friends, he lays bare his heart to us and eventually comes to a conclusion, all the while showing us his workings as he goes. So, essentially, it's just your standard cliché pop song, really. And I did say on one of the dollops that I'll be releasing this song next week. And that was, Dollop Nerds, you would probably remember, Dollop 22. Well done. If you got that, Dollop Nerds, feel free to give yourselves a dollop point there. Remember that dollop points can be exchanged for free psychiatric consultation time, which, if you got that question right and you could remember which dollop it was, you probably need. But I haven't really had much time off. This song, in a way, is 7 years in the making. I haven't been painstakingly working on it for 7 years, so don't get too excited. It's not going to be that good. But I wrote it when I was 24. I had a relationship breakup, and for some reason this song came out of it. I'm not sure why. Sometimes just songs form fully fledged in the head. So I went from being all despondent about this relationship breakup to being really excited about the fact that I'd come up with this song. And so then I started working on it, and it was all in bits and pieces. I've gone through several computers since then, so there were bits scattered on all sorts of different hard drives. So I managed to find the instrumental track and some vocals, and I recorded some vocals a few months ago, and I finally had a couple of days off, so I've got round to actually putting it all together, and this is the result of that. So I'm not going to say anything at the end of the song, because it's going to be quite emotional, it's going to be quite dramatic, and when the song ends, you might have tears in your eyes, you'll be overwhelmed by what you've just heard. You'll be transported into another world, and I don't really want to break that by going, oh, thank you very much for listening. This is myself, David Eagle, with Do the Maths. You and me seem to be in a binary relationship. It's on, off, on, off, on. At times you treat me as if I'm nothing, and then you tell me I'm the one. From bliss to misery, it's hard to see if there's really a point
And if we decimalised our lives, then would this just keep recurring? Recurring, 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 recurring. Cause you're a fraction of the girl you used to be. Although you never did things by halves. And since the answers you won't give to me, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do the maths. I guess I'm gonna have to do the maths. Work it out, work it out, so I can work it out. Work it out, work it out, work it out, work it out. Work it out, work it out, yeah, I can work it out. Work it out, yeah, baby, maybe we can work it out. Because my dear, you seemed sincere when you said I could always count on you. But now the problems keep multiplying. Well, it seems that that's not true. One problem shared is a problem halved, but the problems just keep adding up. I'm trying to work all this stuff out, but to be honest, I'm stuck, 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 stuck. 1 minute you're an angel, then the next you're a psychopath. That's why I'm coming from this angle. That's why I'm trying to do the maths. That's why I'm trying to do the maths. Work it out, work it out, so I can work it out. Work it out, work it out, I can work it out. Work it out, work it out, I can work it out. Work it out, and maybe, baby, we can work it out. Work it out, work it out, so I can work it out. Work it out, work it out, I can work it out. Work it out, work it out, I can work it out. Work it out, and maybe, baby, we can work it out. What you're doing is illogical. You leave me in a state of why we keep going around in circles, and I don't think it's solvable. Using pi and I give you my hard time and time again. But how much longer can I go on persisting? Maths is based on logic, that's why I wanna try and use that system. I am searching for a formula, as if the answers are out there to find. But it'll take more than a scientific calculator to understand your mind, cause you're a complicated equation, and you keep leading me down a dark path. And do I even have the time or inclination to try and do the maths? To try and do the maths. Work it out, so we can work it out. Work it out, work it out, we can work it out. Work it out, work it out, we can work it out. Work it out, yeah, baby, baby, we can work it out. Work it out, work it out, can you work it out? Work it out, work it out, can you work it out? Work it out, work it out, can you work it out? Work it out, baby, maybe we can work it out. You tell me you want us to be together, then you go off on a complete tangent. And all I really wanted was a clear sign. I need to know, do you see us as a core? I really need to understand your mind, cause you're the kind of conundrum that would have even Carol Vorderman clamouring for clues in a complete cold sweat. I'm all at 6s and 7s, searching for solutions, but so far I don't seem to be close to solving any of it yet. Oh, my maths teacher at school said if you want to solve a complicated mathematical equation, you get a piece of paper, you get a pen, and you break it down. 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 You and me are a fraction of our history. You've subtracted all your love for me, and all that's left now is apathy, and it just doesn't add up at all. I tried to make it work with you, I tried to work it out with you, but nothing works whatever I do. We seem to be in a binary relationship. It's on, off, on. At times you treat me as if I'm nothing. I took the numbers that you gave me, I put them into my calculator. I pressed the equals key, the answer it gave me: I won't be seeing you later. Our number is up, you're an impossible equation. I can't work you out, you're just far too complex. And now the only thing I know for sure is that it's you that equals X. But I can't help wondering why.